You're listening to The Building Code. I'm Tom Houghton.
Hi, Tom. I'm Paul Worth.
Hey, Paul. Thanks for saying hi to me.
That was a nice little wrinkle there.
That was.
I thought it was getting a little dull. So,
well,
by now, our listeners know who we are.
Stay tuned, because in 2020, a whole new intro coming.
Ooh.
Little tease there.
Some like hip hop or something?
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we got the nice rock music at the beginning.
That means me. I want to start doing segments.
Yeah, we're talking about adding some segments to the show. If you have an idea, listeners, email us at podcast@buildertrend.com.
Yeah. I like it.
We'll accept any and all suggestions.
Yeah, we got ideas.
We have quite a few.
Okay. Well, we're just leaving our guests hanging. Right?
We are. Let's move on. Joining us via phone today is Ryan Hay, owner of Oakman Building in Austin, Texas.
That's right.
Hey, Ryan.
How's it going, guys?
Did you catch that?
I did.
I said, hey, Ryan.
Hey, Ryan.
Yeah,
I bet you he's never heard that joke before.
Never.
Wow.
Never, ever.
It was the first time.
Okay.
That's new for Paul.
Let's edit that. Ryan, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Excited to have you on. We met, a couple weeks back, right? In Dallas for the Buildertrend University on the Road.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Went up to Dallas, did the Buildertrend training. It was a day up there, and had a good time.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we chatted, and I think I remember it was a whirlwind down there, but I remember hearing your story and going, okay, let's get this guy on the podcast. So
yeah,
here we are.
So Ryan's got a great story. He's currently a Buildertrend customer. You signed up originally in April of 2018, but then a few months after that, about 9 months after that, you decided to leave Buildertrend. You were away for a couple months, then you came back.
Yep, we ditched you guys and then came crawling back.
and we welcomed you back.
With arms wide open.
The warm Buildertrend embrace.
Exactly. Yeah, the prodigal son had returned. Yeah.
One swipe of the credit card and I was back in the family. So.
There you go.
I like that.
That's good.
I like that. That's all
good.
it takes.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe you can let's start with the background of your company. Just tell us some details about what you guys do, how big your team is. Let's start there, but then we want to dive into your story. So.
Sure. So started my company in 2014. I've had a career in home building as well as commercial and heavy civil construction prior to that in Houston, and then moved to Austin. My company wanted to move me back to Houston, and my wife at the time did not want to move back to Houston. So she wanted to stay in Austin. And how Oakman got started is a buddy of mine were watching football and drinking a beer, and he lived on the east side of Austin and said he wanted to get out of the east side and build a custom home for his family in a little bit better school district. And I told him, man, I can build you a house. And one thing led to another. He bought a lot. I created an LLC. I bought insurance, and all of a sudden I had my own little home building company here in Austin.
Just like that.
Just like that. One thing, in 2014, the market was really thriving here. And so the architect that designed that house had 2 more remodels and got those under contract, and told my wife we, have something here. So quit my job and focused on Oakman full time. So I left the company and the salary in 2015, at the beginning of 2015. So I've been by myself primarily for the first couple of years, and then the last 2 years, I've hired a couple of project managers and some office staff. So currently, we have 5 employees, 2 project managers, an admin, a bookkeeper, and myself. Primarily build in Central Austin, full house remodels, a couple of new builds, new homes. That's basically it.
Okay.
That's cool. That's great. That's a really great story. So I have questions. We ask everybody this, so this could probably be a segment.
It is.
Right? This is a segment.
The background to your name.
So how did you come up with a name for your business?
So Oakman is my middle name.
Oh.
So Ryan Oakman Hay.
Okay.
And
is that your mother's maiden name then, or?
So it's my grandmother's on my father's side maiden name.
Cool. That's cool.
So it's his middle name, and then it's my middle name, and it's also my son's middle name.
Awesome.
And I swore up and down when I was a kid that Oakman would end with me, and I would not pass it on. And then as soon as I ended up with a company named Oakman and my son, so kind of switched there. But all my friends call me Oakman, so
oh really?
It's kind of stuck. Yeah.
Oh okay.
Yeah.
So you're Oakman.
Yeah. That's why I struggle with the intro. I'm just used to calling him Oakman.
That's good.
Well, everybody, I'll call and like check on, call whatever countertop supplier or whatever. And they're like, yeah, hey, John, the Oakman is on the phone. And it's like, I'm not the Oakman, it's just Oakman.
Yeah. Well, you did that as well.
I did. Yeah.
It's Oakman.
Oakman.
That's cool. That's a really cool story. The other question I have for you is, you're a fairly younger guy. You had really no plans or grand schemes to get into custom home building. It's just sort of happened with you. I'll say this, and how scary was it to hire your first employee? Or what were some of the things that, that concerned you when you did that? Because that really means that you're kind of in it, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that was definitely something, I mulled over for, when I started, I was by myself. So almost immediately the thought of when I can hire an employee, I started thinking about it right off the bat. Obviously I didn't do it right away. And it's scary. It's not only the financial responsibility of being a business owner and saying, I have to make this guy's salary probably above my own at the end of the day. But also the responsibility to their family, to, them, it's a lot. And so I hired my first project manager on an hourly basis. I thought that was a little bit better. Maybe I could control his cost a little bit more. And then quickly changed him over to salary once I saw the ability for us to get more done, to expand our bandwidth and our management and our coverage. We kind of took off. So I had my first project manager for about 8 months before I hired our second project manager. And so, yeah, getting over that hump of hiring employees was a big one because I wanted to make sure I had the money and the resources to do it. And then once I saw, I was like, this is awesome. I hired another one.
Yeah, that's great. Nice. So as you move forward, and maybe this is something that a lot of business owners who are listening can relate to, what is the formula for adding more employees now? Like, how do you know when the time is right or that you're financially ready for that? Or do you have some sort of formula?
I think for us, it was just looking ahead at the projects that we had coming, having a good feel for the next 6, 8, 12 months, knowing that, running a bunch of calculations on worst case scenario, best case scenario, as far as our sales and revenue and profit we're going to go. And just at that point, like, okay, what's this going to take? Can we do it? Even if, something goes wrong, we're still going to be okay. And that kind of gives you that runway to then, as soon as he comes on, it's an immediate like, okay, now we got to get, work on that next job and get that next project lined up so that we can continue the train rolling. So before I hired employees, it was 2 or 3 projects. And that when I had 3 projects spread across the city, I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off all day. And once we were able to hire an employee and a project manager, I was able to like split it up geographically, what made sense for who to run what project based on experience and owners. And we were able to really focus on what we're doing and manage our day so much better and increase our productivity based on that, because we're able to, we're not, reactionary. We're able to be much more forward looking and that way. So
it seems like that is the shift for a lot of businesses in this industry, the industry we love in construction, especially residential building and like commercial. It's like at one point you stop being reactionary and become you're proactive.
Yeah, you got to go on the offense.
Yeah, and does that correlate with the time you go, okay, well, I need something like Buildertrend, or I need sort of this backbone of how we do things, how we plan, how we, log information, where we store information? Is that, or did that come with employees are asking for this? Like, hey,
I think, yeah, for us, it was I hired an employee and I had no process procedures. Like, where are the latest and greatest plans for this project? It's like, well, dang, they're on my computer. It's like, I know where they are. They're in my file, how I categorize things. And so it quickly became obvious that we needed, we had no policy or procedures for anything. And so, we start with, the document control and that sort of thing. So we make sure we're building the right thing. And from there, we just, quickly look for solutions. And that's what kind of brought us into the Buildertrend arena, I guess.
Yeah. So I feel like there's a period of a couple of years there as you were probably getting your processes up and running. What were you using before you came to us the first time around? Do you mind me asking?
No, I mean, a hodgepodge of, online cloud drives and storage solutions, folders on my desktop. When it was just me, it wasn't an issue because everything was on my computer and I didn't have to share it with anybody. And if I did, I emailed an architect or whatever. So that was easy. Once I had a small team, two project managers and one project manager looking at hiring the second, I realized, man, we need to share this stuff easier and more efficiently, and kind of put our information all in one spot so that we have that kind of place that we can look. And
Okay. So you started with Buildertrend, and then you were with us for.
Ooh, are we going to get into the hard stuff?
We are. It's gonna get rough here, folks.
Product team, or I guess I don't know whose fault it is.
Yeah. Well,
could be sales team, could be product, could be anybody.
Let's go point some fingers.
Buildertrend employees were listening. Just close your eyes. Just close your.
Take your earbuds out.
Just take some time off.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell us. So you got started, and you're with us for a few months, and then what happened? Walk us through that.
So starting off, I think we did bite off more than we could chew. So looking back on it, we tried to go from 0 to Buildertrend elite user in overnight, and it was something that wasn't fully adopted because of that. Because people got frustrated because we didn't start off with a single thing. And so we got started with a couple of the things, daily logs are pretty easy. We kind of put a couple of job schedules in there. We weren't using selections. We weren't using any budget tools. We weren't using client communication, messaging, or any of that stuff. The daily logs were really the first thing we picked up, and those were awesome and very beneficial during that time. And so, once after about 8 months, we started hey, I don't feel like we're using this software. And we kind of had a team meeting about it. And we said, what's is this worth it? One, do we need it? It's only, there's 4 of us in the room, and the admin wasn't even there at that time. So it's the bookkeeper who we weren't doing the budget stuff through there. So it's what is, is this worth it? And we kind of came to the decision that, hey, maybe we can go back to our rudimentary third, hodgepodge of apps and softwares and do it that way. Our clients weren't really using it, probably because we weren't pushing it. We can do our daily communication through email. We can do our file storage through Google Drive or Dropbox or something. We can, selections can go back into Excel, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And so we pulled the plug and we turned it off, and, we built a Google Drive. We, transferred our schedules over to Microsoft Project, and then stopped with the daily logs. We tried to do, during that period that we were off, we tried to do daily logs in an email. To me, it wasn't as it worked for a while. And then during that time, we just kind of got back in old habits, and everything kind of like fell off. We started dropping the ball more on plans. We started, clients would ask us, how do you communicate with us? Where can we see what's, all of this documentation? And I'd think to myself, I'd be like, dang, Buildertrend would have been perfect. It's like, shoot. But it's like, we have this Google Drive that will share a link to this folder, and that's where your plumbing fixtures are. And it just kind of felt, I don't know, rinky dink and kind of amateurish of how we were trying to sell kind of our process. And we're trying to be an elite luxury, high performance home builder who prides ourselves on being the most attentive team in the city. And, yet we're using kind of this hodgepodge group of things, and there's different pieces of information everywhere. And so we were sitting, same kind of thing, like, hey, now this isn't working. And one of my project managers is like, let's go back to Buildertrend, but let's do it right.
What was his name?
Yeah, we got to give him a raise.
His or her name?
That person needs a raise.
They might have a t-shirt coming to them.
And so I kind of told them, like, I'm willing to spend the money on it, but we've got to dive in. We got to do it right. And so we kind of started over, swiped a credit card again, got back in. And I think we started off right in the fact that we took things one at a time, building, back into daily logs. And I said, it is now a requirement that every job gets a daily log every day with pictures. And like, they started doing that, and that's taken off, and that works. And then we said, okay, we got 2 new jobs coming up. Those are going in Buildertrend. I'm going to spend the time, get with my coach, figure out the selections so we can sell this stuff. And just slowly began integrating as much as we could in kind of one thing at a time. We're still not an elite user of Buildertrend. I don't do budgeting in Buildertrend right now. That is on the horizon for us. We've actually had a meeting this week with my bookkeeper about getting her started with training so that we can start. Because for us, it's all like, I want as much in there as possible. And so I think this time we've gotten buy-in from my employees. Our owners love it. It's one of the first things when I sit down and interview for a job before I've priced anything, I pull out my phone and my app, and I'm like, when they're talking about, this last remodel they did 10 years ago and how horrible it went with communication, I'm like, well, this is how we solve that. This is how we keep your selections in line. This is how if you need the contract, this is the folder that it's in. If you need, whatever schedule, you don't have to call me for the schedule. You can look right here, and we update this every day or every other day. And so they've bought in. They love it. We live in a very tech savvy community in Austin. And so sometimes they almost expect, a platform or something that you're going to use. And so it's been really beneficial for us since then. So,
yeah, that's a great story. There's something to be said about that idea you had in buy-in from your employees, because in some cases, a lot of companies, it's just like not forced on them. That might be a little aggressive, but a business owner goes, "Hey, we're doing this
right
because we need process," and for them to get a little taste of it, then go back, and then like kind of be the ones that prompted you to go do it again. You definitely got buy-in at that point, and
absolutely,
and you have to, because they're the people with the boots on the ground really doing it. So I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, those guys, those are the guys that are using it and that are benefit from it with having the information at your fingertips. And so, yeah, you're right. It was important for them to come to that, wanting it again, wanting a one solution. And we said, for us to be, at the top of the market in Austin, which is where we want to be, we need to have this platform and be able to show our customers that we're, the best. So
yeah, I think it's great too that for listeners to hear, obviously I think you went in like most people, which is we're going to implement this software and it's going to change everything. And we're just going to dive in the deep end and we'll figure it out as we go. And you're just like building the train tracks as you're going down the track. And it's like, that does not work. It's, and it's funny because we're coming to that time of year and everybody's thinking about, okay, what am I doing next year? And we're setting all these big goals and we're like, how are we going to get there? And it's like, don't worry, we'll just get there. We'll just go and we'll figure it out. And it's like, no, you got to start with small. You got to make it bite size, and that way you can take time and kind of implement each thing as you go. So like hearing that you started with daily logs and kind of got that going and you put a process around it, that's such a great model for people to adopt when they're trying to start something new, like how you did. So I commend you guys on that. That's really great that you figured that out.
Yeah, definitely think like going that guns blazing, because honestly, the first day I signed up, I was like, all right, let's dump our budgets in there. Let's get those, plumbing fixtures uploaded and here we go. And it's not that it's not that easy, but it's not that easy. And so there's more to it on the kind of back end. But once you get the back end going and understand everything, we're a much better company because of it. So
implementing Buildertrend, there's so many different facets to it. Like, what kind of builder are you, and what are your current processes, and how sophisticated or not sophisticated are you? How many employees do you have? Were all of them involved in the decision process? Is Jack 85 and has no business and no want to use this at all, like one of your employees, right? And so there's so many things on top of that. Then you actually get to the software, and the software is much like building, right? You've got to build a good foundation in terms of how you learn it. And a lot of that's behind the scenes, like cost codes, cost catalogs. Like you can't just jump into selections or it wouldn't really be efficient for you. You wouldn't do what you're asking it to do. I thought the other thing is interesting that we talk about a lot. We kind of are our own worst enemy because over the years, we've been taking suggestions from our clients like, hey, do this feature. We're like, yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, we'll totally do that.
Let's build that feature.
Yeah.
So now we've got like 27 features and they don't all apply to everybody.
Right.
And not everybody's ready for all of them. So you sort of log in as a business owner and you see all 27 features. And I'm sure just like you did, you go, we're not even using all this. We're not getting all the benefit out of it. And I don't think that that's actually apples to apples. I mean, in a lot of cases, a daily log can save a company $5,000 lawsuit, right? In 1 year. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's really good for people to understand is that, we'd love for you to use all of it that apply to you, but if you're not, you're still getting the value out of it.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any other tips for listeners that might be in a similar situation for you, whether, I guess, at any of the stages we've kind of talked about, pre or like considering like that you were in that wrestle, that moment of like, do we continue doing this or revert back to our old ways, or anything else that our listeners might actually say, yeah, that I'm right there with you on that?
I think for us, it's just, it's like anything. It's not a one-stop dump your info and go. I think one thing the Dallas training taught me was how the templates and the like back end stuff can really save you time. I was like, man, and learning those new features because I was like, I build a schedule almost from scratch every job. And I was like, whoa, I'm never going to do that again. I'm going to have a new home schedule and a remodel schedule and tweak them. Yeah. And so there's lots of that stuff that's out there. And so I think just for us, taking advantage of the training, getting that next new tip or whatever it is, to kind of get you over that hump of what you need the software to do for you, is beneficial. So I would suggest, taking a step back, what's not working right, and then you're going to have to put some time into it on the front end so that you can reap the years of ease on the back end.
That's
so
perfect. I think obviously, like you mentioned, you came to Buildertrend University on the road. We've got BTUs scheduled monthly, basically, in 2020. So I would assume, based on what you've just said, you would highly recommend people to come to Buildertrend University to, it's like you said, you got to take some time out of your day to kind of carve away, but then you'll reap all the benefits after you've done that.
Right. Absolutely. Yep. I would definitely suggest that.
Take some time out of your day to carve away if your name's Ryan Hay. That's what you were going for?
Yeah. Thanks, Paul.
Just a
I'm all poet over here.
Last thing, Austin, Texas. A lot of buzz about Austin, Texas out there. You know what I mean?
Good news?
Well, yeah.
There's a lot of hot product.
Everybody thinks like it's like the coolest place in the world. Like, tons of tech companies are there now.
Yep.
No income tax, Texas.
That's a win.
Texas. And it's like, what, keep Austin weird or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of festivals down there. So, A, can we come hang out? Yes. And B,
yes.
So no, but in all honesty, we've talked to a lot of companies. A lot of friends of our product are down in Austin, Tesla, like Matt Reisinger. He kind of talks about the Austin community as it relates to building. Is it something unique down there? It feels like it's very like, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it feels like it's very not competitive as some markets might be, but also
more collaborative.
That's what I meant for. Yeah.
I 100% agree with that. I think it's really cool. I've got Matt Reisinger's cell phone. I've called him about stuff. I bid against guys that, or interview for projects against guys that are good friends of mine that, I tell people, like, I'm happy if this other builder gets the job. I'm not upset about it because I know he's a good builder. I know, he's doing the right thing. So it's a very collaborative environment, and that's really cool. I know it's not like that in a lot of places. I have guys. I welcome any other builder to walk my job sites. Come check out what we do. And I'll answer any question that anybody has. I got other builders call me all the time. We talk about our jobs that are not going great and are going great. And I definitely think that this community is unique in that it's very collaborative and not competitive. And I think a part of that is that it's been a booming economy for the last few years, and we've all got plenty of jobs to go around. So there's plenty of work for all of us, and it seems to be continuing. So
awesome. We should have Ryan back on to talk about some of those, the phone calls that you don't want to make to somebody else, and kind of a learning experience there.
Oh, yeah, I got a bunch of them.
That'd be fun.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Ryan, so much for coming on the podcast today and sharing your experience. Of course, we loved hearing your story about your interaction with Buildertrend over the course of your business. And of course, we love that you're back in the Buildertrend family, and we're glad that the software is working with you and just helping your business run smoother. And of course, we wish you continued success in your business.
Thanks so much for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
All right, Ryan, appreciate it. Thanks very much.
All right.
Love what you heard? Don't forget to rate and subscribe to our podcast so you can hear from more guests that will benefit your business. Also, please check out our show notes page for more information on what we discussed on this episode. You can find it at buildertrend.com/podcast. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on The Building Code.
Appreciate you.